Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another long crime video for you guys. We're going to be reacting to it with Jesse Weber. Y'all, these crimes are getting ridiculous. And I say it every time I get on here, but they only get worse. This is about a man who stabbed his wife 9 times, paralyzing her, and then set her on fire in front of her children. That's dark, okay? That's really dark. It's just, 9 times paralyzing her. Why would somebody, the fact that kids were like around, just so sad, so traumatizing. And when we think of this, you have to think that nowadays people don't care that their kids are around. I'm like, you're traumatizing these kids. You killed their mom in front of their face. The fact that he did it in general just says so much. But let's get into it because I am ready to see what happened, and then judge it, because there's no justifying this at all.
A Tennessee woman is in the ICU trying to recover from horrific wounds that she says were inflicted on her by her husband in front of their children. We're going over the latest details in this awful case with Christine Grillo, a former prosecutor with experience in domestic violence cases. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Tessa Mallow's mother says she was supposed to bring her children to meet up with their aunt and their grandma on Monday night. But instead, Tessa ended up in the hospital fighting for her life. According to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and Dixon, Tennessee Police Department, 28-year-old Zachary Mallell is charged with attempted first-degree murder, aggravated arson, aggravated assault, and domestic assault. He's behind bars on a $765,000 bond because Tessa's mother, Tina, told local news outlet WSMV that Tessa told her, "Mama, he tried to kill me. He was leaving me to die." Investigators say Tessa and Zachary were inside their Dixon home when Zachary allegedly grabbed Tessa's arm and started stabbing her. He then repeatedly doused her in gasoline, loaded the kids into the truck, and set the home on fire, their children. Tessa told her mom that her oldest son, just 8 years old, tried to call 911, but Zachary wouldn't let him do it. Fortunately and miraculously, 2 people in the area, picking up a Facebook Marketplace item of all things, saw the smoke. They actually rushed into the home to put out the fire. Medics found Tessa with the knife still sticking out of her body. It appears she had to drag herself to the back door and collapsed. It's unimaginable to think about, and have to highlight the heroic actions of these people. It's unbelievable. Now, Zachary actually returned to the home, the crime scene, and he was arrested because, according to court documents, he walked up to one of the officers and said, "I did it. It was me." Tessa, she remains hospitalized. She's reportedly paralyzed from the waist down, has third-degree burns. There's a GoFundMe page that was set up to cover the hospital costs. Tori Trotter, Tessa's twin sister, wrote on the page, she has 9 stab wounds. All her ribs are broken, collapsed lung. Her entire right leg has severe third-degree burns, and she's also paralyzed from the waist down. Tessa is strong, but she has a long road to recovery and therapy. Tessa is the strongest person I know, and her boys did not deserve this torture. She also noted that the 2 boys are safe with her and her husband. Tori told local media outlet WKRN that Zachary had been emotionally abusive toward Tessa, but never physically was abusive as far as she knew. It appears that Tessa may have gotten in touch with a lawyer to talk about a separation on the morning of the attack. So we're piecing together what has happened. But I want to bring in right now Christine.
Okay, break. Whoa. Y'all, that was a lot to take in. Okay, a miracle that she survived this. That was, and I'm not a religious person, but, I must say that was, a man upstairs who, helped her stay on for her boys, because that's insane. Stabbed 9 times, all ribs are broken, set on fire, paralyzed. He ruined her. And what caused this? What could have caused that switch? Because everything is going good, and then he just attacked her. Y'all know, I always say you see signs ahead of time. You could easily see signs, but nobody really catches up on them. But maybe there were no signs. When people do stuff like this, I automatically think, I'm like, okay, did they want their whole family gone? Did they want to get out? Or they just want to inflict stress and just madness up on people? What would make somebody go that far to do that to somebody else, another human being. That is insane. And then they like he said, miraculously, like, is that even a word, miraculously? Miracle, it's a miracle that two people from like a Facebook market was like going and they saw the fire. Y'all, oh my God, that's so scary. Like, I don't like, this really do make me scared to like date people, because you never know what people are thinking of. Is so freaking creepy. Oh my God. I just don't, oh my God, this was a lot. And I don't know how she survived that. 9 times stabbed, he paralyzed her. And then did all of this in front of his kids. What made this man snap? Like, what? Let's just go and play, y'all. I'm really like, this one is taking me back. And oh my God.
Grillo, a former prosecutor who has experience in domestic violence cases. This is a horrific one. Really, really horrific one. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, it is horrific, but unfortunately, it's not such an unknown tale, if you would.
Yeah.
In the situation, what runs very familiar to me is how you ended your summary of the situation when you said that the victim had taken steps to end the marriage. So she had begun to show some empowerment. And in doing that, it set him off for his final act, because no, you won't leave me. I won't.
I even forgot that she was about to end this marriage. And like I always say, because everybody say it, the scariest part is trying to leave. And the fact that set him off is insane. Why can't people just be happy for one another? Why can't y'all just go y'all separate ways? Y'all got separate ways. Y'all got kids. Y'all always be together, connected, like, with the kids. But why do you have to inflict pain on somebody else just because of your problems? I don't know. That's crazy. That's just what I never understood why, dudes abuse women mentally or physically. Why would you do that to like your significant other? And it says a lot.
Let it happen. You won't control, because in these situations of domestic violence, the abuser has to have that power and control. Once the victim starts to demonstrate that they won't be controlled, that's when the abuser really, really acts out. And in these cases, I've said this before exactly on this podcast too, these domestic violence cases, they don't graduate to this horrific act. They don't start to first yell and then maybe slap and then do perhaps what happens in the movies. No, they don't. They go from just the, like you said, verbal abuse, right to the ultimate, if they could, once they feel they're losing control. So it is a horrific one at that. It's going to be the same old with, if this does go to trial, what the defenses will be, and how to combat them. We can comment on that as well.
What are the defenses in a case like this when he allegedly confesses to what happened? I mean, who else would have done this? Or is it self-defense?
It's not going to be a whodunit.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
It's not going to be a whodunit. It's going to be why and whether or not he can be held accountable for his actions. So as the defense lawyers
And then knowing all they do is plead mental insanity, or if he just plead guilty to like the crime, they're just gonna sentence him to like what that state allows or whatever they do. But also I'm surprised that he's still on a $700,000 bail. Why was he on that? I don't know at the time. This is like a month ago that this was recorded, but I don't know. I just don't understand. People who do stuff like this don't deserve a bail. They deserve to stay in prison until they rot in jail. So I don't understand that. But until they rot, until court, and then sentenced to jail. But they, and I feel like the justice system, stuff like this, it shouldn't even be a why. You'd be like, you did that, you're insane, throw them away. But I know people want answers, but on the other hand, it's just like nothing leads up to something like this. This is not justified. It's not whatsoever.
I've come in contact with and been myself, it would be that it was a crime of passion. This is just the defense presenting, because believe me, I have the prosecutor retort to it. So they would come out and say it's a crime of passion. Crime of passion is a legitimate legal defense that you couldn't tell right from wrong because your mind was so overtaken with your passion, if you would. You can't be held accountable for your actions. Where the prosecution comes in to combat this is to show situations or parts of this scenario where he has consciousness of guilt. He does know right from wrong. Starting, first of all, he tried to burn her body and kill all the evidence. That is the utmost consciousness of guilt. Let me get rid of anything that could bring me to this crime. Secondly, his son tried to call 911, tried to get help, and he stopped him. And in stopping him from calling the police, he knew what he was doing was wrong. So do I think a defense would be successful? No. But then there's more arguments with diminished capacity where they could be found guilty but not responsible and be sent to a psychiatric facility for the rest of their lives. That's happened to me in the past as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I do see that what will happen in the heat of the moment, yes, I did it, and I'm sorry, but then when you realize that you're going to have to spend the rest of your life in jail or worse, I don't know, I'm not sure if this state has the death penalty. Actually, I misspeak because this is attempted murder.
This is
correct?
attempted murder, correct?
She's not deceased.
She's alive, yeah.
Yeah.
And let me amplify that a little bit as well, because, there's one thing to suggest trying to evade law enforcement, trying to evade capture, trying to get rid of the evidence, but another thing, and we talk about it in classic law school example, guy walks home, sees his wife in bed, takes out a gun, shoots them both. That's an immediate reaction, right? I would
Correct.
say if this was just the stabbing, maybe there's something there. But I think what you really hit on the head is not only grabbing the child to prevent from calling 911, but the pouring of the gasoline. That's a second step, right? That's another step you take. You don't do that in the heat of the moment. And we've covered cases before, right? How far does that go? Where you say you're that mental state. It doesn't. I know defense attorneys have said it doesn't have to be immediate. It can be prolonged. It can happen over a period of time. But I don't know about it.
Before she said that, I feel like the justice system, they really broke it down. That's what we do. They break it, I'm not in the justice system. I don't even study criminology, y'all. So I really just take what they say. But from what I hear, they broke it down. So when you go to court, they look at every aspect, or they supposed to. They're I don't think he would get death penalty for this, which he should, because that's it's very premeditated. It's just very like she say, passion to kill. This is a crime of passion. You stab somebody, cut wounds. You're pouring gasoline in those cut wounds and lighting her on fire. This is so wild. And I think they should look at it like this. They should look at it how it is like a crime of passion. No, he don't need a mental facility, okay? I know I'd be like, people are psychopaths. I do say that a lot, okay? Because I'm like, who would do this? But there is anger kills. People do kill because they're angry, and he did it for a reason, and it was personal. So I don't think this is mental at all. He needs to go to prison, and but then they should make some new prisons for the really bad people where they're just getting tortured, because it's not fair. It's taxpayer money. They get to sleep, they get to eat. But he tortured her. And then your kids witnessed it. And then you stopped your son from calling 911. There is so much passion in this crime. This doesn't even make sense. It's actually crazy.
I always hated that defense. It angered me a lot, because if you are, even in the heat of the moment, you still have the ability, the wherewithal to grab the knife. There's these split seconds, but you still know what you're doing. And think about a stabbing. Shooting is one thing, and we've always made that distinction in domestic violence cases. Shooting is one thing. A stabbing is so incredibly personal, and it takes so much energy that, yes, maybe one stab, but multiple, you clearly knew that you had an end game to your actions. You wanted to kill or inflict such incredible serious physical injury on this person.
The fact that he allegedly came forward, came back to the scene, confessed, does that buy him any goodwill? Does that help him in his defense at all?
Depends who the judge is. Because at this particular point, if I were the judge, you wouldn't be buying me that much goodwill. Just because you've done something so wrong, and then, that's a him thing. That's the defendant thing, trying to alleviate his guilt. I don't ever... Where I would find that they would get some kind of sympathy from a judge or even a prosecutor is, let's say, in the missing children cases or this or that, if they've done something for the betterment of others. So if you're doing something or giving out some information that would help someone else, but you're just giving out this information, you're just alleviating your guilt. That's not helping anybody, because we've got enough evidence to convict you anyway. You saying that you did it, clearly she's alive. She's going to turn around and say, he did this to me. We have other prior statements of bad acts to the mother, saying that this is what he's done to me in the past. So there's enough evidence. So he's just trying to clear his head.
You raised something else that I want to bring up. I actually covered a sidebar about this recently in the Tiffany Lucas case. This is a young mother accused of gunning down her 2 children. And there's talks about whether a plea deal would be on the table. Now, I would say to you, is that a possibility here with such a horrific crime? And then I'm thinking to myself, you know, there's a lot of reasons why you, as a prosecutor, you wouldn't want to have a trial. Obviously, there's always a risk, you know, about being found not guilty, but I think you want to save people the pain and the heartache of having juries of having to hear this, and having Tessa having to testify about what happened to her. So there are incentives to save a lot of pain and time, and obviously there's a money component. Do you think that this is a case where a plea deal could be on the table? And
also, I think they should be looking into whenever they give him, you know, a plea, his plea, whatever, guilty verdict, because we know he's guilty. They should look at everything else he did. It's like when you actually look at the crime. Like she said, stabbing is very personal. It's very personal, up close. Like, you're doing this. And I also think adrenaline took over. Maybe he wanted to see if he could do it. First stab, he was able to do it, and he just kept going. So that's just, once again, adrenaline, and that whole passion to, like, kill her is all right there, too. But also, you have to think about how, like, you took her ability to walk. They should look at that, because that's really serious. Like, I don't want to imagine what it's like to be paralyzed. It's so sad that happened to people. But you stabbed her all over her. And she was even crawling with the knife in her body. Like, this so much. And I don't even know what she looked like right now. And I probably burst out crying if I saw it. It's so heartbreaking to know that. But they should look into every little detail of this. And he should get the maximum sentence. What plea deal would he get? 20 to life? Parole after 10 years? Like that, what?
Do you think that would be something that is the correct decision given these circumstances?
As the prosecutor, I would present the plea deal to the victim. It would, in my world, and as the former prosecutor, it's what we did. We would say, these are our options. You don't have to testify, and let's say he'll do 15 years in jail. Or we can go to trial and try for the max. I don't know what the maximum is in that state. I'm strictly New York prosecution. I don't know what the maximum for the aggravated assault and so forth. I imagine it's probably 20 to 25, could be to life, I'm not sure. But in other words, if we went for the max, if I was using my example, we could get him for 25 to life. We could try and do, if you want to do 15 years without a parole and without early release, guaranteeing he's serving 15 straight up years in jail. You present it to the victim. You see how they weigh it, because it's really up to them. Your job as the prosecutor is to present the evidence, whether whether it's easy or not, or we're running a risk or what have you. That's our job. But it's the victim now who has to decide how they want to proceed and what they can withstand and what's worth it to them. And that's how I really would present it. I would leave it up to them.
Yeah, especially when I believe in Tennessee, you're looking at with attempted murder, life in prison. You know what one of the most heartbreaking one of the most heartbreaking things about this whole case is, Christine? That according to Tessa's mom, Tina, when she spoke to WSMV, apparently Tessa said, he promised me he would never do that, and then do this in front of the boys. So that aspect of it, this crime is horrific. But the idea of doing it in front of children is another component that I'm sure you see in a lot of the cases that you've covered.
You do, and it's amazing to me, because you always have to remember too, and I've said this in the past, domestic violence cases are so hard. Also, you're not 100% certain that she's not going to remain interested in prosecuting him. There's a chance, that now she's going to come out paralyzed, and this has happened in the past where the injuries, women go back. They go back, because you have to remember these relationships began on love. They had children together. She'll now start to think about what her situation is going to be like, raising these kids alone with her injuries, so forth and so on. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I am saying that in my experience in the past, I've had to proceed with cases without the victim's cooperation.
But you also have to remind yourself and also realize that it depends on what the crime is. A lot of women do go back. That's just, it happens, and they're not weak for that. Okay, I always find it interesting. I'm like, it's interesting that, men put their hands on women to the fact that they're like, unrecognizable. They hit their face so much, like they beat it in their face to the point of you just can't recognize them, and they'll still go back, and that's out of fear, and that's also out of them not wanting to be alone. You know, you just can't blame them. You can call people weak, you know, do say what you want, but it's like, because I think unfortunately I said that before. I said there are weaker women. That's just what it is. But you also have to see that, look at the person they're with. Like, they might be scared they're going to come after them. After saying that stuff, I learned that there's a lot more into it. Okay, that's what I know. Now, with this, I doubt it 100%. No, there's no, even though she said, you know, she was just saying, you know, it happened before, but to this T, don't think so. I actually think the woman should go to trial, so, because it would work in her favor. They side more with mothers anyway, but then everybody knows what he's done. They can actually present everything to them, like point everything out so people can see it. And she'll probably most likely get the maximum with him. So I actually think they should go to trial with this one.
That they do not know, they no longer want to prosecute. They no longer want to see the father of their children rot in jail. They just don't. They wanted to make it better. He may convince them, like you said, where she said, he said he would never do this. And he may say it again. I'll never do it again. I realize that you never know what's going to happen. Swift prosecution would be the best move in this particular case, because like I said, she could waver. She could go back and say, you know what, the father of my kids, I need him. I need him.
No.
My gosh.
I hope some women don't think like that when it's something like this, when they took in your ability to walk and, you know, like ruined your skin, stabbed you, you got internal wounds, you're paralyzed, and your kids saw all of it and he set you on fire. Don't, you know, no. When he does get out of prison, because we know he's going to prison, it's like, no, don't care what he say. That's insane. And the fact that I hope he would get life, but they're in New York, I believe, and I don't know, 2015 to life. It's sad that it's a possibility that he might see the daylight again, which is crazy. This is going to be a weird one. It shouldn't be, but it is, because that's the law. They look at every little thing. And, you know, I see some of the shirts he was wearing, and they kind of tell me some stuff about him. I saw the Juice WRLD shirt. Now, I listened to one song from him. I heard one song. But a lot of his stuff deals with mental health, and I know he committed suicide, I believe. But, like, I don't know what the dude was going through, okay? I didn't look into it. I don't know anything about him. But this dude, I don't know, maybe he was going through stuff, I don't know. You know, you could tell about the type of people they are to the type of music they listen to, I'm just saying. So, we just gonna have to see. This was a lot. Like, this was just a pure crime of passion, the one to make her feel pain because she was trying to leave him. It's always the couples. These couples crimes, yeah, I've been doing so many. I just did one, which you can check it out, my last video, about the elder man, 83-year-old black man who killed his family, his wife and his daughter, disabled daughter, 35 years old, with an axe. And y'all, it's just, I still don't know how this woman survived. I don't know how she survived, but you know what? Somebody was with her, that's all I'm gonna say. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I have more crimes to react to. Y'all, oh my God, I actually just, like, I'm trying to get back relaxed and doing everything, and I was like planning videos and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much crime. I was just telling that to myself. I got a whole list of stuff to talk about. I was like, there's so much crime and more stuff to talk about. And actually I hear sirens outside, so it's just stuff everywhere. I don't know what this world is coming to. Also, I'm going to add more topics on here, which I'm going to do in my next video. I have a lot of topics we're going to be talking about all on this channel. So on that note, I will let you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.